Hey guys, so I did a tutorial just now. It was requested by Pink Sapphire 100, just sort of what sort of makeup you would do for either a school picture or just anytime you're going to be having your picture done. So I took you through the foundation, eye makeup, lipstick, everything, and I have some hints and tips for what you want to do and avoid when you're going to have your picture taken as far as makeup goes. I do apologize. For some reason my camera stopped recording in the middle of my tutorial, which has never happened to me before, and it's so frustrating because it cut off pretty much all of my eye makeup, and I didn't realize it until the end. So I went back and I described to you what I did. Not quite as good as seeing it, but it really is simple. I didn't do anything that you haven't seen me do before in a tutorial, so I'm really sorry about that. If you have any questions, just ask, and hopefully you can just get an idea of what I did. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Alright, so first up I'm going to take my Hard Candy Sheer Envy Primer, and I'm going to squeeze out like a little pea-sized amount on my finger, and I'm just going to rub that together and apply it all over my face. This is a silicone-based primer, which I really like because I'm about to put on a cream foundation, and I find those go on a lot better when it has a little slip underneath so that it can apply more evenly. And the foundation I'm using is MAC Full Coverage. The most important thing about this foundation is that it does not contain any SPF. If you are having your picture taken, especially if it's flash photography, you really want to avoid foundation with SPF in it. Something like SPF of 6 isn't going to be too bad, but once you start getting like 15 or above, the problem is it contains titanium dioxide, which is very reflective. So if you've ever noticed you take a photo and your face looks really gray or sort of has this white cast to it, that is actually the SPF in your foundation reacting with the flash from the camera. So I would just, I would try and avoid that. I'm just going to go ahead and apply this foundation with a synthetic foundation brush, and I'm just working it in. I'm actually putting on a pretty thin layer, even though it is a heavy foundation. You definitely can get away with more makeup in a photo because, it's not up close, it's not in real life, but I find your face can look very flat and one-dimensional if you just pile your foundation on. So just try and keep it on the areas where you get the reddest, like sort of in the center of your face. And then just to sort of make your face look more three-dimensional, try not to put too much on. We are going to contour also. I am putting a little over my eyelids just to even them out. Alright, next up I am using this tiny little Bobbi Brown brush. It's actually an eyeliner brush, I think, but I'm using it with my Studio Sculpt concealer, and I'm just literally patting it directly on top of any little blemishes I have. As I said before, we don't want to just cake our face in makeup because it'll make us look it'll look like a mask in the photo. So instead, I'm just spot concealing just the little things that need it. Alright, and then to blend those in, I'm taking my foundation brush. Oh wait, actually, no I'm not. First I'm putting a little more concealer underneath my eyes. Just a little bit though. Studio Sculpt, this concealer can tend to cake up a little bit, so I like to apply it with my fingers. It warms it up. Okay, now I'm going to blend in those little dots, and I'm going to use my foundation brush again for that, but I'm not going to swipe it on or rub it in. I'm patting it on, so it's not going to rub the concealer back off of those spots. It's just going to pat it in, so doesn't look like all these little dots. Okay, next I'm going to do my contouring. This is a matte bronzer from Sephora that I just bought. It's in the color Bahamas. It's actually very close to Benefit's Hoola. So I'm going to take a really soft blush brush, and you notice I wiped the extra off on the back of my hand because we don't want this to look like, muddy spots on our face. And I'm just very, very lightly dusting it underneath my cheekbones. And you notice I'm going in circles because I don't want those racer stripe, lines underneath my cheekbones. So I'm blending that up. And I'm also going to apply a little around my forehead and on my temples. And I'm getting a little bit more, and I'm going to apply this underneath my jawline. I really like to do this. It just sort of sharpens up the line of your jaw. Okay, next I'm going to do my blush. This is one of my favorite blushes. This is MAC's Dame. It's just the perfect pink. If you're looking for a good pink blush, I really recommend this. Pretty much every skin color and tone will look good in this. I'm just using a fluffy brush, and I'm putting that right on the apples of my cheeks. With the blush, you can definitely go for something brighter or put a little more on than you normally would, because the camera tends to wash you out. So I think this is definitely a must for if you're going to have your photo taken, you really have to put on blush. Alright, now I'm going to do a setting powder. This is my Mineralized Skin Finish Natural with my 150 brush. Really important about cameras, they will definitely make any shine on your face look much worse than it is. So even if you have dry skin like me and you think you don't need it, I would absolutely put it on, at least where I'm doing it, which is forehead and then down onto nose and your chin. Because any little bit of shine you have is going to look really unflattering, especially if it's on your nose, which is why I'm powdering it to death there. Alright, and then I'm using my cream color base in Hush and my 187, and I'm just applying that on my cheekbones just to put a little glow back into my skin since I'm matte everywhere else. So the camera's going to pick that up, and I'll get a nice sort of highlight on my cheek, so it'll be it'll have a dewy look where I want it instead of, on my nose or something. Alright, next I would really recommend filling in your eyebrows, which is what I'm going to do here. If you already have naturally nice eyebrows, maybe just put some brow gel on them, but if yours are kind of sparse or have some bald spots like mine, grab a pencil or a wax or brow powder. I'm using a Tarte pencil here, and just sort of very gently fill it in. Don't try and, draw over your eyebrows, but just fill them in so they're all sort of the same thickness all the way across. And then I am going to use brow gel just to keep them in place. This is a tinted brow gel by Smashbox. Alright, so now on to the eyes. I'm going to use my Paint Pot in Soft Ochre again, and I'm going to pat it on with my 249 brush. I just want to create a nice blank canvas where I can put down my shadow. Paint pots are great. They're my favorite base. They're nice and sticky, so they allow your shadow to really cling to them. I think just everything looks better with a paint pot. If you're more of a pink undertone person, I would go get the Paint Pot in Painterly. It's sort of the more cooler toned version of this paint pot. Alright, and then I'm using the shadow that's out of my Femme Naturelle palette. And that color is a nice sort of pinky brown. It's a matte. So I'm going to pat that all over my lid. This is with my 239 brush. So very pretty. It's kind of like a rosy taupe color. Alright, and then out of my Naked palette, this is the color Buck, which is a sort of warm matte brown. So unfortunately my video camera stopped recording in the middle of this tutorial, which is really unfortunate. So I showed you guys how I did my face, and it cut off right at the point where I was placing that color Buck from the Naked palette in my crease. So basically what I did, I'll just kind of go over this since it's finished now, is I just did a windshield wiper motion back and forth in my crease. And as you can see, I didn't exactly put it right where my eye crease is. I actually just put it the littlest bit above, like right here. So that just sort of added a little bit more depth to my eye than ordinarily. And then I used my 217, just blended this out very gently. Alright, then after that, I took this angled brush here, and out of the Naked palette again, I went back and I grabbed that first color, which is called Virgin, which is that sparkly white, and I applied that underneath my brow bone here, and also a little bit in my tear duct, and blended that in. What else did I do? I took a little bit of Sin, which is this one here, with the same brush, and I just placed it gently on top of that sort of pink color I'd put on my lids, just to give me a little bit of sparkle there. Alright, then for underneath my eyes, I took more of the same color that I put in my crease, Buck, and I just layered it underneath my lash line there. And then to rim my eyes, I used, the Whiskey eyeliner that came with my Naked palette. Real simple, I just lined it underneath, lined it on top. I left my waterline bare just because it'll help your eyes open up a little bit more. And then after that, I curled my lashes and I applied the Falsies mascara, non-waterproof. And then on my lips, I've put MAC Modesty, which is a cream sheen. It's just a warm-based pink. So you can see I just put a nice layer of that on. Trying to think if I forgot anything. I think that is all. I'm really sorry about my camera cutting out. That's so frustrating. But you get a pretty clear idea of what I did. Nothing, none of the techniques were too complicated. So I hope this was still useful for you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.